Hello and welcome to Season 2 of Disney Travel Tales. I am so excited to be back with you sharing a whole new season of Disney travel. As always, this is a space where you can escape the real world and immerse yourself in someone's recent Disney trip. I'm Jenny and today you are listening to episode 11. Our guest is Brittany and she traveled in July to Disney World with her boyfriend, mother, and 2 small kids. It was so great hearing her experience in the parks with a baby and 5-year-old. She has wonderful advice for parents traveling with small kids. If you're enjoying the podcast, the best way to support it is by sharing with a friend or leaving a review on Apple Podcasts. This helps our show grow. There are so many exciting things coming to Disney parks this fall and winter. Not only is Disney World Resort celebrating their 50th anniversary, but both parks have fun Halloween parties and Disney World just released their holiday plans. And boy, does it look fun. There really is no better time to visit the parks than right now. If you're looking to plan a Disney vacation, visit our sponsor, TrolleyLaneTravel.com. Owner Becky Abruzzetti and her agents are Disney experts. When you plan a vacation with them, you will have someone who is your advocate and on your side through this trip and any future trips. Take all the stress out of the logistics and let someone else plan your trip for you. And the best part is, it's all complimentary. Visit them on Facebook and Instagram at Trolley Lane Travel LLC. Tell them Disney Travel Tales sent you. And if you plan a trip with them and would like to be featured on the show, let your agent know. This is how we get our guests. And of course, this show would not be successful without your vacation stories. Okay, so let's begin our adventure with Brittany and her family. Imagine yourself sitting and watching Happily Ever After at Magic Kingdom. And let's go. Hi, Brittany. Thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me, Jenny. Good morning, good morning. Happy Saturday.
Yes, happy Saturday morning. Okay, so you traveled to Disney World July 22nd through 27th of this year. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and who you traveled with?
Yeah, absolutely. So, again, I'm Brittany. Hi, everybody. I am from Little Rhodey, Rhode Island, the smallest state. And I am a mom of 2 beautiful children, Cristiano, who's 5, and Alina, who is 4 months. And this trip I traveled with my son, my daughter, my boyfriend, and my mom, who has not been at the parks for about 14 years.
That's pretty funny, I bet. I mean, the parks are a lot different from 14 years ago.
Oh, absolutely. I reflect on when she was there last, and that was when Hollywood Studios was still transitioning out of its MGM phases.
Oh my gosh, that was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago, 2004,
wow,
or something like that.
Yeah.
I was young, but yeah, Hollywood Studios was transitioning out of its MGM days. That's how long it was.
Yes. And you are a travel agent with Trolley Lane Travel, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
That's awesome. We will put your email and link to any pages you want in the show notes if people want to find you to help plan their trips.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so y'all flew to Florida. What airline did y'all fly?
Yes, we flew from Providence on Southwest.
How was the flight?
So our flight down, so TF Green, I have definitely had better experiences at TF Green Airport. They are transitioning with a lot of construction and not a lot of restaurants were open. So I usually like to have, dinner, have my, son eat dinner before we go on a plane or anything like that. But unfortunately, Johnny Rockets wasn't open at the airport, which is like our go-to, French fries and chicken fingers.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of threw a monkey wrench where the airport was definitely not as prepared for our arrival as I would have expected. So when we got onto the plane, it was an older plane, so there was less, leg room. It was definitely a dated plane. I've never had a negative experience with Southwest between their prices and their customer service. I really don't have any complaints. The only complaint that I would have is that the protocol for boarding was not consistent from Providence and Orlando.
Okay.
In Providence, you know, Southwest says that if you're traveling with small children, it's one adult per child. In Providence, they allowed my mom to come on with us, even though she wasn't technically in our party.
Right.
Whereas Orlando, they said no.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so that's one thing that I always say about Southwest is they need to kind of communicate.
Yeah.
Just to get their protocols in place, because, you know, you'll run into that usual, well, in Providence, they said, well, in Orlando, they said, like, there needs to definitely be a little bit better communication. But if there's one thing I can tell parents that are flying Southwest is, if you're flying with small children, it's one person per child. Even if you're traveling with grandma, grandpa, uncle, aunt, sorry, guys, one person per child on the plane.
Well, that's good to know. Yeah, because I didn't even know that. I guess we haven't ever flown with my parents, so, or my in-laws either. So yeah, that's really interesting.
It stinks, but that's where you can also get the early bird check-in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that way they have an earlier boarding group so that you're not completely separated. But unfortunately, like I said, not everyone can get on the plane at once.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, and good to know. Okay, so once you got to Orlando, did y'all use the Magical Express to get to your resort?
Of course we use the Magical Express. And it was kind of sad, though, because we did not get a Magical Express bus with Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Goofy, and everyone on. Disney is transitioning from its Magical Express to the Mears transportation buses. Now, some of my Disney lovers may not like this, but we personally enjoyed the Mears buses more because we did not have to fold our strollers. They could just go right under the bus.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and that goes for when we were in the parks as well. Some of the buses were the Disney transportation buses, and some were the Mears Travel Company buses. Like I said, parents, those Mears buses are huge. Their undercarriage is, I mean, I'm only like 5'1", so it's definitely, you know, about like 5'10". So you just put the stroller right in. You don't have to fold it. It's beautiful.
Oh, that's so nice. Yes, folding strollers is the worst.
To be fair, the seats were a lot more cushiony. And of course, the Disney cartoons were on, so that was, you know, that's always great.
Yeah. So if you see one of those buses, don't be sad.
Yes, don't be sad. It's the same experience, but a lot more comfy.
Great. That's great to know. Okay, so what resort did y'all stay at?
We stayed at Disney's All-Star Movies Resort, which was the resort that I stayed at with my son and his father when he was about 18 months old in 2017. And Jenny, let me tell you, the upgrades that they've done on this resort are incredible.
Oh, that's awesome.
So when we stayed at All-Star Movies Resort in 2017, there was the usual star carpet and the, you know, like the cheesy paneling in the rooms and whatnot. The artwork was a little dated. They have completely flipped these rooms to a much more modern and clean look. The floors are beautiful wood linoleum. There's we had Huey, Dewey, and Louie on our wall from the new Mickey cartoons. That was the artwork. There was a pull-out sofa, so there was a queen bed, and then if you wanted a pull-out bed, there was this cabinet, and I thought it was just like a wardrobe. Oh, no. You pull on it, it's another bed.
Nice. That's awesome.
There was a mini fridge, a coffee maker, TV. The bathroom, in my opinion, was huge. So the upgrades on the resort have definitely changed the feel of the resort. My son absolutely loved the Fantasia pool. He actually learned how to swim with his life vest on.
That's
he wasn't
so
using
cute.
his arms very well. Yeah, so that was a memory.
That's
he
great.
learned how to swim. Yeah. The duck pin pool, we did not get a chance to go to because we stayed at a preferred room in the Toy Story area of the resort, so that was a little bit further away from us. But from what I understand, either it wasn't open or people just weren't visiting it because it is a smaller pool. So the Fantasia pool was definitely our home base, if you will, whenever we went swimming.
That's awesome. So do you recommend people staying in preferred rooms? What is the benefit?
Yes. So the benefit of staying in a preferred room, especially when you have little people, is it's closer to the concierge services, meaning the food court, the front desk, the bus lines, the merchandise store. It's just closer to the things that you will need the most.
Okay.
Now, not saying that a standard room further away doesn't do the same thing. It's just a little bit of a longer walk. When I stayed with my son and his father back in 2017, we stayed in the Nutcracker. We were in one of the Nutcracker suites a bit further down.
Uh-huh.
And, I mean, you're in Disney. A room is a room, in my opinion.
Correct.
But for this purpose of having littles with you, preferred rooms at the Valley Resorts are definitely my go-to when it comes to giving clients that advice. If you want something in a jam, whether, you need diapers or you need, something to drink, the store is right there within, a few minutes rather than a mile, if you will.
Yeah, so the preferred room is mostly location.
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely.
That's great to know.
It depends on how much cardio you want to get in that day, too.
We went to Disney, I think back in 2013, and we stayed at the All-Stars Sports Resort. And we also, I don't know if we necessarily asked for a preferred room, but we were close to the food court area, and that is so important.
And sometimes, one thing I like about Disney is sometimes their guest services will see a party that clearly has children in it, and they will use their pixie dust and accommodate, even if it is a standard room, a little bit more toward the preferred side, so that way, you're not so far away. That doesn't happen all the time, but sometimes guest relations is cool like that. They'll notice, hey, there's 4 kids in this party. We should kind of move them a little bit further.
Yeah, that's so nice. Especially if the resort isn't full, they have that flexibility.
Right, exactly.
Well, I did look online at pictures of the movie resort rooms, and they look so nice. Very clean, very just nice.
Yes, absolutely.
And taking out that carpet probably made a huge difference.
Oh God, it did. I remember just that musty feeling.
Yes.
You're in Florida, and the carpet's just holding in the moisture.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And, just having that floor, even when, you spilled something, you don't have to worry about it seeping into the carpet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Especially the value resorts. A lot of families stay there, so they were very smart in taking that carpet out.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so the first day y'all got there, did y'all go to a park, your travel day?
So our travel day, we actually arrived on the 22nd at nighttime.
Okay.
So here's another tip for my family. So I had this bright idea to take a night flight. Okay. It's a good idea, but it's also a bad idea. The pluses and deltas, if you will. So the plus is that, the kids are a little bit more tired, so they're not as hyper on the plane. The delta was the time after we got off of the plane. Things were absolutely chaos. Granted, we are coming out of a pandemic. People are excited to travel again, so everyone was everywhere.
Mm-hmm. So
when we got into Orlando Airport, when we were on the tram to go downstairs, it wasn't too bad. But the minute that you went downstairs, Jenny, it was like the floodgates open. People were everywhere.
Oh, my gosh.
So we didn't end up getting to our resort till about 1 a.m.
Oh, my gosh.
So, yes. Now, granted, our Magical Express bus also had to drop people off at their said resorts because it was a nighttime bus. There was only one bus, so they had to drop everybody off between Riviera, Art of Animation, Pop, everybody, not just our specific resort. So that is something that parents, I will advise you, if you take a nighttime flight, expect to not get to your room until later. However, if you go a little bit more toward the afternoon, chances are you'll still get that designated bus for your specific resort.
Okay, that's good advice.
So although the flight was cheaper, time-wise, I personally wouldn't recommend it because by the time we got our grocery order, got things settled in the room, the baby it was a lot. We were definitely exhausted. Our eyeballs were beet red.
Oh my gosh.
So that's just weigh out your pros and deltas, if you will, when it comes to that nighttime flight option.
Okay, so that's pretty crazy. We've had that happen to us before, too, on traveling. It's like you have this great idea, and then it just doesn't really play out that way, and it's just a learning experience.
It's just terrible.
Yeah, you're like, what was I thinking?
Why did I do that? I saved $200,
Yeah, but my sanity and exhaustion just wasn't worth it.
Mm.
Okay, so the next day was y'all's first park day. What park did y'all visit?
Our very first park day was on the Friday. We went to Hollywood Studios. So my boyfriend and I kind of have a special connection with Hollywood Studios because in February of 2020, before the pandemic boomed, we had a chance to go to Hollywood Studios and just completely gut up the entire park. We did everything and anything at that park. So that's kind of like our park, if you will. We have a very special connection to it. Magic Kingdom is like forever, but Hollywood Studios is like our thing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So when we arrived at Hollywood Studios, immediately a character cavalcade was coming down the runway. So, excuse me, my son, like I said, who's 5, he's looking everywhere, classically not paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
There's a cast member literally coming up behind him saying, excuse me, car's coming. And my son's just looking everywhere, like, what's happening? And, immediately we were greeted with a cavalcade. That was at like 9:30 in the morning.
Oh, that's so fun.
So we saw The Incredibles, Mr. and Mrs. Incredible. We saw Buzz. It was great. Now, I mean, from parents' perspective, these kids are seeing things that they've either never seen before or they have seen it before, but it's still very overstimulating.
Yeah.
And coming right out of the gate with a character cavalcade kind of wasn't the best way to begin our day. Because, again, he's just taking in all of the scenes, and all of a sudden, boom, there's a car right behind him.
Yeah.
So shortly after we got over that fiasco, we moved forward, and I was very excited because Mickey's Runaway Railway was not open. It was literally a month away from opening when we went in February of 2020.
Okay.
So immediately, right at the Chinese Grand Theater, rest in peace, great movie ride, there was Mickey's Runaway Railway. So my son, my mom, and my boyfriend, Raphael, went into the line, and I went to the baby care center with my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Parents that have babies, the baby care center and the shade and the stores with air conditioning are your best friend. Do not be ashamed to use them. So while the rest of my party waited in line for Mickey's Runaway Railway, I went into the baby care center and waited for them to complete the ride. And then we did a switch. So I and my son went on the ride, and then my mom and my boyfriend took the baby and went in the shade. And Mickey's Runaway Railway was exactly how it looks in the videos, but it's that much more. You are just immersed into the cartoon of Mickey Mouse. And for me, it was very hard to not be in there and picture every room with a great movie ride. So I tried to distract my brain from doing that by just appreciating the work that Disney has done on this ride. It is absolutely incredible. The scenery, the colors, the 3D images on the faces. It is absolutely incredible. My son loved it. He absolutely loved it. Didn't love waiting in line, but I have to say he did very, very well, considering the heat and the waiting, just the anticipation. He did so well.
Well, that's such a fun ride. And I mean, there's adults who can barely stand in line. My husband complains about standing in line. I'm like, you're a grown up.
It was great though, because, again, this is his first time back since he was a baby. So just to see him really just experiencing everything for the real first time was definitely a memory that I'll take with me.
That's so fun.
We also did Star Tours, my son and I, and he was the spy.
Oh, fun!
So if you want your child to be the spy, they need to be in the third row, right in the center.
Okay, that's good to know.
And he's like, Mommy, why am I on the TV?
Oh, that's so cute.
But he loved it. He also went into Frozen Ever After with my mom to escape from the heat while we went with the baby to the baby care center. So needless to say, it was a good switch off. My mom would go do something or we would switch off and I would go do something. I am sad to say that we did not get a chance to go into Toy Story Land on this trip because, again, there's just so much just in the beginning, just in the first half of the park.
Right.
Right now, Indiana Jones Spectacular is not open, so that would have been another addition to our trip, but unfortunately it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
So Frozen Ever After was, of course, our go-to show. So unfortunately, we did not get into Toy Story Land, but later in the afternoon, my mom took my son back to the resort to go swimming. So my boyfriend, the baby, and I went to Galaxy's Edge, and we were able to just enjoy that portion of the park without constantly taking pictures.
Mm-hmm.
On that trip, we were taking pictures left and right because it was brand new.
Yeah.
So we did use the rider switch perk. We went on Smuggler's Run, and my boyfriend went first. I got a fast pass, and then I went on right after. I ran right up the ramp, and everyone's looking at me like, where did she go?
Yeah.
So
probably with like darts in their eyes. Like, what is she doing?
Like, why is she going up there? So parents definitely use the rider switch. And the rider switch system is, so you go up to the cast member, and one person or however many people that are able to ride in your party go on the ride, and then the person with in Galaxy's Edge, they call them a youngling. The youngling and the parent wait. The parent gets a fast pass, and then once the party or the person comes off the ride, that person with the fast pass goes on the ride.
Hey parents, do your kids listen to podcasts? Do they like solving mysteries and flexing their imaginations? Mysteries at Riddleton Elementary is a new children's mystery podcast. Your kid can join Billy Bonanza and Susie Sockington on exciting and wacky adventures as they attempt to solve mysteries around their school. Mysteries at Riddleton Elementary is available now on all podcast platforms.
Yeah, that's a great system because even my daughter who's 8, there were certain rides she just didn't want to ride, like Space Mountain and stuff. But, we all still wanted to ride it, and it works great. And you still have to stand in line. You just don't have to stand in line twice.
Yes, exactly. And unfortunately, we did not get on the Rise of the Resistance queue. No matter how hard you try, there are so many different ways that you can do it, whether it's logging off of the Disney Wi-Fi, whether it's refreshing your phone every 2 seconds. Mm-hmm. It is literally Russian roulette.
Yeah.
And luckily, we were able to get on Rise of the Resistance at our last visit. So
that's good.
So we were able to enjoy that ride, which is amazing. Star Wars fans, amazing.
It is.
I can't even describe. It's, again, the immersion that you get into. You're in the movie. Mm-hmm. There's no other way to describe it. You are in the movie, the animatronics, the effects, the overall storyline that they built, the cast members, and how they treat you when you're on the Star Killer ship. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
But if you plan on getting to Rise of the Resistance, all I can say is the best of luck to you. Do what you can. Log off of the Disney Wi-Fi. Start refreshing your phone at 6:57 in the morning. Only one person in the party do it, though, so that there aren't conflicting reservations on the queue. Just try. That's all I can. I'm sorry. That's all I can say. Just try. That's all you can. There's a 7 a.m. and a 1 p.m. So.
Yeah, I think the only reason we got it is because my 15-year-old is a gamer. And I'm like, he has the fastest fingers on the planet. If it wasn't for him, I don't think we would have got it because we were both looking at our phones and he had already gotten us a boarding pass and I was still like trying to figure out where to click. And I'm like, thank you.
It's crazy. And when we were at Hollywood Studios, the other thing that I noticed is, and this goes for all the parks, but being our first park day, you have to divide the park into quadrants. You have to think about, okay, what are my go-to rides that I need to have based off of who is with me? So now me being a roller coaster junkie, I'll go on anything and everything. But with my son having it be his first time, Tower of Terror was kind of out of the question because of the drop, and Rock and Roller Coaster because it's dark and there's a lot of loops. Mm-hmm. Probably not the best ride for a 5-year-old to go on for his first time. So, like I said, unfortunately, we weren't able to go into Toy Story Land, but next time I'm definitely going to take more time to divide the park into quadrants. Okay, let's go to Toy Story Land first. And then maybe we'll shift over into Galaxy's Edge and then loop around again to the front of the park, just so that whoever's in your party is able to experience what they're able to experience, but you're also able to see almost every part of the park, if not the entire thing.
Yeah, that's really good advice, especially with little kids, because we've never taken really small kids, but I can imagine once you walk in, you're just like kind of overwhelmed and kind of lose track.
Absolutely. And having a baby with you is not, don't use it as a moment, if you will. Mm-hmm. It's not an obstacle. It's an obstacle if you make it an obstacle. Mm-hmm. Keep track of not only the baby's feeding and sleeping schedule, but also, your child. Mm-hmm. Think about times when they're hungry. Think about times when they're usually tired. If you're working based on their schedule, but you're also keeping in mind of what you want to accomplish that day, it will happen. It's not going to happen right away, but, you need to keep your kids hydrated. You need to keep mm-hmm. them fed. You need to keep them out of the sun. You just have to do all of those things first before you think about tackling an entire theme park.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, when they're cranky, we get cranky.
Oh, yeah. So did your son ride in a stroller? Did you have a double stroller or 2 single strollers?
So the stroller situation was, we had initially planned to take 2 strollers, but he is getting way too tall. Mm-hmm. He has long stork legs, so he was not able to fit in the stroller that we thought he was going to fit in. So he was walking. Mm-hmm. I did see children of his age and a little older in strollers, and they were kind of hanging out of them, but they were comfy at the same time. Yeah. So I don't know. It's difficult to say because he's not one to sit still. Yeah. So if I were to put him in a stroller, it would be for him to pass out and take a nap in. Right. So the only stroller that we had was for our daughter. It mm-hmm. was a front seater where she was facing us and she had her shade over. Yeah. And there were times where she would want to be in it because she was sleeping, or times that she didn't want to be in it. So it became our bag trolley. Yeah. So the other advice that I would give if you have a baby is invest in a comfortable either wrap or baby carrier, mm-hmm. because babies, like my daughter, that do not like to be confined or constricted in mm-hmm. any way, that is going to be your lifesaver because you're able to hold them, but you don't have to physically hold them. Yeah, that's good advice. And make sure you have an umbrella, too, to keep them out of the sun. Oh, smart. Very smart. Yeah, I was asking about your son because 5 is just one of those ages where some kids are still in strollers and some kids don't. Like my boys were not in strollers when they were 5, but my daughter was because she was smaller and just a little bit lazier, to be honest. Yeah, no, and definitely, again, gauge who your child is. If mm-hmm. they're, a hyper, go, don't bother with the stroller. Yeah, just let them run around. Just let them run around by all means because you're going to want them sleeping. So how did y'all feel this day, being that you didn't get a lot of sleep? Like, how did that work? I mean, for me, I could get 4 hours of sleep, and I'm in Disney. I'll be up at 8 a.m. I don't care. Yeah. So, but you definitely feel the effects of it come mid-afternoon. Mm-hmm. So around that 1, 2 o'clock, you start to feel very sleepy. But we had a dining reservation at Hollywood and Vine at 4:40. So after my son and I got off of Mickey's Runaway Railway, we met up with my mom, my boyfriend, and the baby at Hollywood and Vine, and we had a lovely sit-down dinner. It was a character meal. Oh, that's fun. And the food was great. The atmosphere was great. The air conditioning was wonderful. Yeah. And of course, you got to see the characters mm-hmm. because, of course, right now, without the character interactions, that's your only real way of seeing them up close and mm-hmm. personal. So we closed out our day at a time where things could have gotten ugly really quick. Yeah. So it was nice because after we had dinner, like I said earlier, my mom and my son went back to the resort and we went to Galaxy's Edge. So it was kind of a nice parting of ways. That's so nice. Yep. Yeah, I love that. Did your son love seeing the characters at the meal, or was he taken aback by them? So he was kind of complacent about it because he knew that they would be there, but to see them in person was kind of like, oh, okay. So he was excited to see them because now he was aware of the characters and seeing them in person. But I don't know. He doesn't really understand. Okay, on TV they're so much smaller.
Yeah.
But he was excited, especially when Mickey and Minnie came out. They were so cute in their beach outfits because
so
Hollywood Vines, that retro 1950s kind of feel. So they were in their beach wear. It was awesome. He got a kick out of Goofy because Goofy is always goofy. He's always dancing. He's always acting silly.
Yes.
Minnie was so cute in her little sundress, and of course, it was just great just to see the magic of the characters once again.
Absolutely. That's so fun. I love it. And, honestly, part of me thinks the way they're doing the dining right now with the characters where they kind of just walk around is almost better than coming to the table. Because when my daughter, we took her when she was younger, I think she was 4, and she loved the characters from afar. But when they came to our table, she was like, oh, no. Like, I don't want anything to do with you.
Yes, absolutely. My mom always tells the story. When I was about 3 years old, she and my dad took me to Disney, and we were at Crystal Palace. And Chip and Dale had this bright idea to sneak up behind me.
Oh, no.
And I started screaming. I wouldn't eat. It was a mess. So,
yeah, you just never know.
Poor Chip and Dale, they're not expecting to make a poor baby cry. But like you said, some parents... some children, especially with sensory issues and things like that, I definitely think that the way that they have the characters in the meals now is definitely more friendly and inclusive.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing worse than your child who is sensory sensitive or, is socially, not socially, what was the word I want to use? They're not socially ready to have that kind of closeness with people that they don't know.
Yeah.
It's a much better experience so that you're not worried, oh God, like I hope they don't have a fit when Donald comes over to them.
Yeah. Like I almost feel like when they
child.
Yeah. I feel like when they go back to the old way, maybe they should let you put something on your table that says like, don't come close or keep your distance, just so that the kids can enjoy it.
Well, there is a pin. There's actually a Disney pin, and I haven't seen it in a while. And I don't know if it's directly from Disney or it's from the Autism Project. They do have a puzzle piece pin for children with autism that you can either put on their lanyard or on their person, which communicates with the cast member that this person, has special needs or is on the spectrum. So therefore, they need to be approached cautiously.
Oh, that's nice.
And some parents don't want that, out in the open. And that's, completely respectable. You don't want your child to be different,
Right.
But for those that want that option, you can always use the puzzle piece.
That's really good. I didn't even know about that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about your next park day.
Yes, my day. It's Saturday. Magic Kingdom.
Yay.
Rope drop. Yes.
Oh, y'all did rope drop?
We did rope drop because, again, it's Magic Kingdom, and Magic Kingdom is just another ball game. No matter what you do, when you go, Magic Kingdom is just the mothership. I mean, obviously, the castle's there. So, we got into Magic Kingdom, and they began with their morning character greet on top of the railroad. They were Mickey, Minnie, and the whole cast, and they were dancing, having a good time. And we made our way toward Jungle Cruise, because Jungle Cruise is one of those first rides, because you're looking at Magic Kingdom, you're looking at Cinderella's Castle, Adventureland is on your left. That is usually where people flood to first. So we headed toward Jungle Cruise, and we got on within 5 minutes.
Wow, that's awesome.
And I was checking the My Disney Experience app while we were in line. The line wait went right up to 45 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
And we're just getting on the ride. I was like, sweet.
That's awesome.
So my daughter's first ride was Jungle Cruise.
I was going to ask, because she rides some of those rides, the easier, smoother rides. That's that's so fun.
Anything that doesn't drop, loop, or spin. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Babies can ride, and Jungle Cruise was her very first ride. So Jungle Cruise has a very special place in our hearts.
That's so cute. Did your son like Jungle Cruise?
Oh, he was just looking everywhere. He's like, look at the hippos. Look at the elephants. And of course, we're laughing at the puns that the skippers are giving out, of course. And we're always the ones on the ride that are very extra with our laughs. We're like, and everyone's looking at us like we're crazy. But that's their job. Their job is to give, that little bit of humor so that you're not just on a boat looking at animatronic animals.
Seriously, yes.
So it's like, come on, people. Like, help them out a little bit.
Yep. Have fun. You're at Disney. Just let loose.
Well, the other thing, too, and I know that we're in an age of technology. I get it. I'm not trying to go on that spiel right now. But take the time to just be in the magic.
Yeah.
I understand. Take a picture of a hippo here and there. But you're there for the experience, including the cast members that are acting. They're putting on a story for you.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy the experience, because every time you go on these rides, there's always something new.
Mm-hmm.
There's always something new to see or that you haven't noticed before.
Yep, I agree. Okay, so what'd y'all do after Jungle Cruise?
So after Jungle Cruise, we did take a snack break in the Agrabah market because, with the baby, that needs to be changed, and a child that needs a snack. So we went under one of the little, in the marketplace, because it was so early in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So some of the tables were just set up for the morning, so no one was there. So we went underneath a nice little shade, and we had our snack, went to the bathroom, recharged, and then we headed over to Frontierland. So Frontierland, so once again, my son, my boyfriend, and my mom got in line for Splash Mountain, and I got the fast pass.
Yay!
And while they were in line waiting for Splash Mountain, my daughter and I went to It's a Small World.
Aww, that's fun.
And, here I am just with my baby and my Moby Wrap just on Small World. And it was nice, though, because, again, I'm on this ride with my daughter, who's a little baby, and that's something that I am able to tell her about.
That's very sweet.
And no matter how many times you on Small World, I get emotional just because, you're in Disney, you're hearing the song, you're in the ride, and you're with, someone that will not remember it, but you'll remember it.
Right. Yeah, it's like such a classic Disney moment.
It is, absolutely. And walking through Fantasyland with her and just looking at, all the buildings and the rides, and there was another character cavalcade. Tinkerbell was on top of her little rock, if you will, and it was nice. It was a very nice moment for she and I to share.
That's so fun. I love that.
Yes.
Did your son like Splash Mountain?
He loved Splash Mountain.
Oh,
he went on it twice. He went on once with my mom and my boyfriend, and once with mommy. And Splash Mountain is my absolute favorite ride. It is my ride. Now, I'm sure that some of our listeners know or may not know, but Splash Mountain will be transitioning into Princess and the Frog. So while I'm staying immersed in what was going on in Splash Mountain, I'm just trying to picture, where are they going to put certain elements of Princess and the Frog in this film? So in this ride. So I'm thinking about the film and, this would look great here. So me and my, psycho Disney brain, I'm like, Tiana's house will be here, and Dr. Facilier's lair will be over here. Like, it was funny. It was great.
Yeah, I cannot wait to see that ride when they're done. I love the classic version, but I'm excited for the new version as well.
No, I am too.
Yeah. Okay, so after Splash Mountain, where did y'all go?
So after Splash Mountain, it was definitely time for a lunch break. We were hungry. So another word of advice that I have, especially with the dining plan not running right now, definitely invest in a grocery order. We use Garden Grocer, and I can't even describe it, Jenny. We saved so much money just by getting our own groceries. We made sandwiches every morning. We had fruit. We had chips and crackers and all the usual things that you would eat on like a picnic per se. We had a huge Mickey cooler, and we just stocked it full of snacks, and like I said, sandwiches and whatnot. And not only did it save us money, but it saved us so much time.
Oh, yeah.
Now, granted, the mobile food ordering system is a godsend.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to keep it because
I hope
saved so much time waiting in line and the frustration of waiting in line. And it was just so convenient. But I will speak measures and always advise people to get a grocery order, especially with kids that are picky.
Mm-hmm.
My son will not have a salmon dinner. He
Right.
will not. So, and that's the other thing. Disney is so accommodating with their menu items.
Mm-hmm.
For lunch, we did have lunch at Be Our Guest restaurant, which was amazing, absolutely amazing. Our waiter, Micah, who was from Morocco, sweetest man ever. He was so great. Again, my son didn't want fancy scallops and prime rib. He wanted chicken fingers and fries.
Right.
So, he was able to fulfill that for us, which was awesome. But in between, when we weren't having a meal, that garden grocer order saved us in more ways than one.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, just having food on hand is so important, especially if the parks are busy.
Yes, because there's no way that you're not going to wait 20 minutes, 25 minutes in line for a pretzel. It's going to happen.
Right.
It's going to happen. So after Splash, we did head on down to Be Our Guest. So that was our very first time there. And all I could think about was I am in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my goodness, the artwork, the detail in the chandeliers, it was so beautiful. The only thing that I was a little taken aback by was the Beast. He was literally running a marathon up and down and then left.
Yeah.
I was like, what is this? It was cool to see him, but he did not stop for any still pictures.
Yeah, that is. I don't know. I think they need to rework that somehow or something.
I think they need to talk to, the Beast a little bit. Say, hey, buddy, they're here for you. They're in your house.
Yeah, they want to get a picture of you. Stand still.
Another sensory tip for my parents with children with sensory issues or kids that are just afraid of the dark.
Mm-hmm.
If you are given the option of a West Wing table, kindly say no thank you and eat in the main dining room. The West Wing, no word of a lie, is like a haunted mansion. It is dark. It is dark. So you have to squint to see your bread.
Yeah.
Because I actually did ask the cast member, I said, can I go take a look? And I went in there, I couldn't see anything. I couldn't even see the people in front of me. And although the dining room is dim, it is not dark.
Mm-hmm.
And there is thunder in there. It's kind of like Rainforest Cafe in Animal Kingdom, where there is thunder, so it is kind of loud.
Yeah, I was going to say that too, yeah.
So, although it's cool to see, the rows and the glass, it's not worth not being able to see your food or your child screaming and crying because there's thunder.
Yeah, and you can always walk in there after you eat and see the rows and then kind of look at it and then leave and not have to just be sitting there, yeah.
Exactly, and it was really cool because my son and my boyfriend went over to see the knights in shining armor, and they have them making sound effects. Like one is snoring.
Oh, funny.
The other one says, "Oh, good evening, sir," and it was just hilarious. It was so hilarious. It was cute. The bathrooms were huge and clean. Mm-hmm. The mural of Belle and the Prince at the front entrance, beautiful, absolutely breathtaking. Again, Disney with their attentiveness to detail always makes me wonder, what could they do next?
I know, it's amazing, right?
It's absolutely incredible. You're in the movie. Yeah. There's no other way to say it. You're in the movie. So the food was delicious too. For French cuisine that was, adapted to an American palate, they did it. It was beautiful. We did have the gray stuff. It was delicious.
Yes, it is delicious.
It was delicious, and that was served in a white chocolate cup that was shaped like chip.
So cute.
Yes. So
and
that was another detail that was great.
Your son got the little like paint your own. Is it like a chocolate chip cup that he could paint?
Yes, it was a chocolate chip cup. And my son isn't much of a sweets person,
Uh-huh.
but he had, you know what? Anything that gives your kid a chance to be creative and distracted from what's going on around them,
Uh-huh.
why not?
Yeah.
Paint your dessert, darling. Go right ahead. Go right ahead. So that was a nice touch for the kids.
Yeah, that's fun for them. It's cute. And it keeps them distracted for a little bit so you can enjoy your dessert.
Yes. Absolutely.
All right, so what'd y'all do after lunch?
So after Be Our Guest, we did go back to the hotel because my son really wanted to go swimming.
Yeah.
If there's one thing I can say about the pools, they are a great break in your day, whether it's for you to go take a nap or whether it's for them just to do something different.
Mm-hmm.
Because although you're in Disney, it does get overwhelming and they need that mental break.
Yeah.
So when we got back to the hotel, I passed out. I went into the room with my daughter and, I fed her and we took a nice nap in the air conditioning. My son went swimming. He ended up taking a nap. And then we went back to get ready for Happily Ever After. Because Happily Ever After will be going away soon because of the 50th anniversary.
Yeah, I know. It's mixed emotions.
So it is mixed emotions. I will always love that show. But it was definitely awesome to see his reaction to the fireworks. We did get a chance to ride Pirates of the Caribbean and Big Thunder when we returned to the park, which was awesome. My mom did get an orange Dole Whip in the Sunshine Bird Cup. Fun. So she now has that in her cupboard as a little keepsake.
So what time did y'all head back to the park to get ready to see the fireworks? Do you remember?
We headed back there at around 6.
Okay.
It was about 6 o'clock. Yeah, we had dinner at the resort. We ordered food from our food court, and we headed back there. And the other word of advice about when it comes to what you're wearing that day, just make sure that you have changes of clothes because you will be sweating. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing worse than wearing clothes that you've already sweat in.
Yes.
So just definitely make sure you have clothes to change and then some for everybody. Because when we went back, it was still warm outside, but I think it would have been worse had we stayed in the same clothes that we were in all day long.
Yeah.
So after we did Pirates, which was always fabulous, and Big Thunder, which I had never rode on because every time I go, it's either broken or the line is too long.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so we waited a whole 30 minutes, not even. I think it was more like 20 because we were just flying through the line. Myself, my son, and my boyfriend went on the ride. It was awesome. The only part that he did not like was when you go through the bat cave. It is ridiculously loud, even for someone that isn't sensitive to noise. The bat cave is very loud. It's very squeaky.
It is.
So, again, from a sensory perspective, the minute that you go into the bat cave, you might want to cover your ears.
Yeah.
But he did love the ride. The only part he kept saying was, I liked it, but not the bats. The bats scared me.
That's fun that the three of y'all get to go on that ride together.
Yeah, it was nice. It was really nice because my mom isn't a fan of roller coasters. So anytime that we had a chance to go on, a more fast-paced ride, that's when she would take the baby for us and we were able to go on the ride with him.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How were the crowds at Magic Kingdom?
Nuts. But you have to be smart with your route to wherever you're going. So after Big Thunder, we did head toward the front end of the park to get ready for the fireworks. So we kind of went in the opposite direction of everyone else. So instead of going through Fantasyland to loop around to get to the castle, we went through Frontierland, cut through on the side of the castle, and then went around near Casey's Corner so that we could change the baby and get away from Main Street, which is where a lot of the people were.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is something that I don't think that they will be doing all of the time, but I think because of COVID reasons, they were trying to be smart with crowd control. So near the baby care center, which is now moved, by the way, it is no longer near Crystal Palace. It is now in Tomorrowland, near the Tomorrowland Terrace.
Okay.
So that is something that I learned, because there was a sign for it for the baby center outside, but then in the bathroom it said the baby care center has moved to Tomorrowland. I'm like, what? So, but thankfully in the bathroom there was, a changing station. But when we walked outside, there was a cast member that had a gate open to backstage, where, by the way, where I met my fellow Trolley Lane Travel agent, Michelle.
Aww.
That was great. I got to meet her. Yes, finally. So a cast member was standing there with the gate open. He's like, if you want to go to fireworks or leave the park, go this way. We're like, okay. So we got to go backstage.
Wow.
It was awesome because we got to see the trolley that goes up and down Main Street with the Dapper Dans. We got to see a couple of the floats that were in, their locked storage.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, no, it was cool. So, I'm standing there, I'm like, we're backstage right now. This never happens.
How fun.
This never happened. So we did get to go backstage, and we ended up right outside. We ended up outside of so I'm trying to get my bearings. So you're looking at the flagpole, you're walking into the park. We came out on the left where the parades exit.
Okay.
When they're done with their route. So we came out through there.
Wow.
And we got a nice spot for the fireworks right near the flagpole.
That's so awesome.
Where we watched the fireworks. I did purchase some headphones for the baby because of the noise. Mm-hmm. The noise canceling earphones. Amazon, $12. Best purchase I could ever make, because with the babies, they have such sensitive ears, and between the music and the boom of the fireworks, it was certainly something that I recommend for parents that have babies up to 2 years old. They're a great lifesaver.
Yeah, I think that's smart. You just never know how your baby's going to react. Some babies don't care. Absolutely. Some babies are going to just scream and cry, and then that just ruins the experience for you.
Yep, absolutely. The only thing that did stink, but it's nothing new, is, obviously with my son being smaller, it's harder, it's harder for him to see over people's heads.
Yeah.
So we had to be creative, and he got on my boyfriend's shoulders, and then he wanted to get down. So that's always something that every parent goes through, is making sure their child can see what's going on. Mm-hmm. And although we weren't able to see the projections up close, he did enjoy the fireworks when they were airborne.
That's awesome. So fun. So did y'all leave the park after the fireworks?
So we left the fireworks about 5 minutes before Happily Ever After ended, because the minute that fireworks end, everyone, it's like the soldiers in Wizard of Oz. They all turn at the same time and they go.
Yes.
So, within 5 minutes before the show ended, we headed for the buses, and we were able to get on a bus almost instantaneously.
Oh, that's so nice. So smart.
Yes, absolutely. And, although it's sad that you missed the ending of it, nothing is worse than being in a crowd of people and you're fighting to get a spot on a bus.
Absolutely.
It's not worth it. It is not worth it at all.
Were they filling the buses full?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they were. We did get on another Mears bus. It was not a usual Disney transportation bus. But yes, our bus was full. Your mask was required, and they would not let you on the bus unless you had a mask.
Gotcha.
They did have masks for people that did not have them. But yeah, they were full. They were full to capacity.
So is it 2 and under have to, or 2 and under don't have to wear a mask, or
2 and under do not have to wear a mask. Nope.
All right. That sounds like such a fun day. I've always said the worst time to be at Magic Kingdom is in the middle of the day. I think morning and night is the only time to go.
Absolutely. And, as I said earlier, that's why the pools are there. The pools are there for a reason, because just at the peak of the day with the sun, nothing is enjoyable.
No, it's so hot. I mean, We've been in many different months and it's still just hot in the middle of the day.
And no matter if you have, the spray fan, the cooling towels, it does not make a difference. The sun is hot.
It is,
it's just
for
hot.
sure. And we're from the South, so I'm used to heat, but I'm not used to standing out in it all day.
Right. Well, that's just it. It's not like you're passing through a parking lot and going into a store. You're standing in the sun. Now, me being from New England, where, when we see the sun come out, it's like, oh my God. But it's a different heat than it is up north. Because up north, it's not as humid and it's not as stinging.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only way I can describe the sun in Florida. The sun stings.
Yeah. It's very powerful.
It's definitely something that sunscreen can't fix. You need to get out of the heat as soon as you can.
Yeah, I think it's smart too sometimes I know people go to Disney and it might be their only time they're ever going to go and they get very stressed out about doing everything, but just take a break. It's okay to just go relax and enjoy your resort.
And that's just it. And especially when you have kids, like Disney is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
It will not move. It's not getting up and walking away. It's going to be there. If you don't experience everything at first, then when you go back again, just say, hey, we didn't get to go on Haunted Mansion this time. Let's make sure we get on it next time.
Right.
It's okay.
Yes.
It's okay. I understand that you want to get your money's worth out of it, but truthfully, parents, it is not worth your sanity to stress. Because when you stress, your kids stress.
Yeah, I agree.
And you have to just keep in mind that, okay, again, you can divide the park into your quadrants, as I said, for Hollywood Studios, and try to accomplish whatever your child wants to get on. But if you don't, it's okay. Take that pool break. Take that nap in the shade. Do the things that will keep you and your family sane.
Right, for sure. And one day your kids will be big. I mean, my kids are big and they can go all day long and there's no problem. So just think about that. One day you can just go. And it's so much easier. They'll be dragging you.
Yes.
It'll be the opposite. You'll be like, I want to take a break.
I love it.
Okay, let's talk about your third day. What park did y'all visit?
So our third day, we went to Animal Kingdom, which is another park that my mom had not been to.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Wow.
Yep. So she got to see Animal Kingdom for the very first time. This is my boyfriend's absolute favorite park because he is a huge Lion King fan.
Mm-hmm. I love Animal Kingdom too.
It's cry every time, Mufasa. Every time. So Animal Kingdom is, it's one of those parks that it's so chill, in my opinion. Next to Epcot, Animal Kingdom is just chill. You are in a park with a bunch of beautiful landscapes and animals, and there aren't many rides here. So, it's not a park where you're scrambling to get to it unless you're going to Avatar for Flight of Passage.
Right.
But that's another thing in itself. And I love Avatar. I think Pandora is beautiful. It's a beautiful land. They did an excellent job with it, but that's its own entity. Animal Kingdom Park itself, it's just a very relaxing day. You get to go on a ride here and there. You get to look at the animals. You get to go to some of the shops. It's not as overwhelming as Magic Kingdom or Hollywood Studios.
Yes, and they have some great shops in Animal Kingdom. I love walking through the shops.
I love the jewelry in Africa. Some of the vendors with their jewelry. Oh my God. I can never imagine making any of those things by hand myself. I can't even put a bead on a piece of thread.
I know, it's so fun to look at. Just take your time for sure. So what rides did y'all do here?
So we got to go on, not in any particular order. We did go on Expedition Everest. We did go on the Kilimanjaro Safari. What else?
Did your son like the safari?
He loved the safari. The only thing that he did not like was the bumpiness of the ride.
Yeah, it's very bumpy.
And that's where, again, me going backwards, where they had that story about Big Red and Little Red, the elephants, thinking about where certain things were and why it was bumpy here and why this was here. again, it's hard to retrain your brain to not think about what was once there.
Yeah.
I think that is one thing that Disney needs to think about in the future, is not making the ride so bumpy. Because there was one point we were sliding. Now, granted, it's hot and we were somewhat sweaty, which is gross, but we were sliding and like bumping, and without seatbelts on, it's kind of dangerous, in my opinion, because, you know, what if there's a little kid that's on the end?
Mm-hmm.
They could go flying right off of it.
Oh, yeah.
So if you have a little one with you, have them definitely sit in the middle,
Mm-hmm.
so that, you know, you don't risk them going off of the edge into the zebra pen, if you will. The lions were not out. They are redoing their exhibit.
Okay.
So when we got around to that particular exhibit, there was a green scrim over the Pride Rock, if you will. So the lions were not out, but everything else, all the other animals, absolutely incredible to look at. The giraffes are probably my favorite animal to see because they're just so big.
Yeah.
They're so big and majestic looking.
Did your son ride Expedition Everest?
He did. He hated it. He was afraid of the Yeti. That's my favorite ride there.
Uh-huh.
So, you know, I'm having the time of my life, but he was fine up until we went backwards.
Oh, yeah.
And the Yeti showed up on the rock, and he was yelling. Again, the noise. I don't think it was the ride itself. It was the noise. The noise is what scared him the most. It is loud.
Yeah.
You know, you have a Yeti screaming in your ear, you know, naturally.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Yeah, my daughter didn't like that ride either. She was like, I don't know if I like that. But that was the backwards part. She just was not prepared for.
The backwards part is scary.
Mm-hmm.
It is scary because you're not, well, first of all, you're coming toward a track that's not complete. That kind of messes with you a little bit. But then when you go backwards, I mean, me being the adrenaline junkie that I am, I'm fine with it. But for someone that's not used to that, it is a little scary. So I would definitely, you know, consider things like that with your little one before you get them on. I'm not saying prompt them because that'll freak them out.
Right.
You know, don't give them ideas in their head, but, you know, just consider, you know, there is a loud part in this. The ride goes backwards. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Cali River Rapids, no matter what you did, the line was out of control.
Oh my gosh.
So we did not get a chance to go on that. And that's why I always recommend looking at the Disney Experience app, because looking at the wait times will be your saving grace.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a 20-minute wait, just go.
Yeah.
Go for that. Oh, I'm sorry. The other ride that I left out was Dinosaur. I'm sorry. I'm over it. Dinosaur is not worth it. My son hated it too because, again, it was so loud. And that T-Rex or whatever that dinosaur is, that thing is scary.
Yeah.
It is scary. He loves dinosaurs, so he did go on Triceratops spin in Dinoland, but Pre-Movie World is no longer open. Mm-hmm. It's just sitting there. So Dinoland was, are you familiar with the park up in Rhode Island, Rocky Point?
No.
Rocky Point Park. So Rocky Point Park was our local theme park, if you will, that was open in the 1800s up until the mid-90s.
Okay.
And it was just, you know, a broken down park. You know, rusty, kind of creepy.
Uh-huh.
That's kind of how Dinoland is right now because the Boneyard is not open due to COVID. It's not really complete. It doesn't feel like it has a purpose. It's just there.
Yeah. I know. I wonder if they're going to reimagine it.
I hope they do because again, it reminds me of that Rocky Point. It's just broken down. It's kind of old looking.
Yeah.
The colors are outdated. The bathroom had terrific air conditioning. But yeah, I was like, oh, like that kind of stinks because this is meant for the kids. Like this is meant for them to have their time. But I wasn't impressed with it. I wasn't impressed with it at all. So I certainly hope that Disney does reimagine it. But parents, if you need a good bathroom with air conditioning, Dinoland.
Just head over to Dinoland.
Dinoland. And there are dining options there that are more kid-friendly, you know, with the chicken nuggets and the french fries and all that good stuff. So he did get to enjoy at least one ride there. It's tough to be a bug We did not go on despite the 10-minute wait time. He just wasn't interested in it. He was like, I don't want to. And again, listen to your kids. If they don't want to do it, don't force them. That's just going to make it worse. We did have the chance to see quite a few character cavalcades on the river.
Oh, that's
in the
fun.
boats, which was great during one of our break times. We were in the shade across from Yak and Yeti. There was a little sitting area in the shade with fans. So we were eating our bologna sandwiches and enjoying our pirate's booty. And we had a lovely view of the characters, Pocahontas, Donald and Daisy, some of the Harambe drummers, which are not playing right now in the Harambe market, unfortunately, because of COVID, but we were able to enjoy their music on the river. And not only that, but just being in the shade itself saved hours of headache trying to go from, we were at Expedition Everest in Asia, all the way to the baby center, which is more toward the front of the park near the tree. So just being in the shade for that, half an hour, 45 minutes definitely saved the headache of scrambling through the people to get from one end of the park to the next.
Yeah, that sounds so nice, just to sit and kind of have a picnic.
It was definitely a picnic, and it was cool because we kind of did a search and find with the Tree of Life. We were looking for different animals with my son, so that filled up some time too.
That's fun.
Yep. So if that's one activity that I can give you is to do the search and find, look up on Google the different animals and see if you can find them in the tree.
Did y'all go see the Lion King show?
We did see the Lion King show right before our dinner reservation at 4:15 at Tusker House. We did go to see the Festival of the Lion King, and I mean, I have several friends that have been in the show and are currently not working at the show because of the limited numbers that they can have in the cast. And the show is modified. It's great because, again, everyone's working again, so it's good to see people there in the theater again, but it's not the same show. The monkeys aren't in it. The flyers aren't in it. They're in the show, but they're doing more ballet on the floor rather than their aerial skills during the Can You Feel the Love Tonight portion of the show. Yeah. So in comparison, you do prefer the show that was there before, but the show that's there now is still great. I did forget the baby's earphones, and I was so upset because I had to hold her ears.
Oh, no.
And she hated it. So make sure that you always check your bag before you leave your hotel room. I thought I had them.
Oh, man.
My son did enjoy it. Of course, my boyfriend was singing along with all the songs. And so although the show wasn't the same, it was just great to be in the theater again and to see people performing. Yeah. So that was great.
So y'all ate at Tusker House. How was that?
Delicious. Oh, my Lord, their mac and cheese is my life. The mac and cheese is my life. It is. The spread that they had, the chicken, the beef, the shrimp curry rice, the desserts, everything was exactly how we remembered because we had gone to Tusker House in 2019. Okay. And the experience there with the characters was terrific and the food was magnificent. But I like the family style. The family style takes away from the headache of getting up and down at the buffet and, your kid running all over the place. So everything is at your table and that's where it is. The characters, in their safari gear coming in to say hello to you, and it was a much more calm experience because when we were there for the buffet, again, people are everywhere. Right. So now where the buffet was, they have put tables there right in the front as soon as you get into the restaurant, and then we were more toward the back, away from the entrance. So we kind of had like our own little private area, which is nice.
So that's nice. They actually can seat more people now without the buffet.
Yes. And that's something that I noticed as well because, between the buffet itself, the equipment, right, as well as, trying to fit people in between. I don't know how they did it before. I'm just looking around. I'm like, how did they do this?
That's funny.
This is crazy. So the buffet style, I don't know. I mean, should it come back? I mean, I'm fine with a family style. You get to eat as much as you would at a buffet, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you still get the same amount of food.
Yeah.
You're just not getting up and down all the time. And in ways, you're kind of saving yourself the extra calories by not getting up all the time and putting too much on your plate.
Right.
You're just taking what you want.
Yeah, I love the family style. I hope it stays.
Yes, me too. The other thing that I wanted to add overall to the dining experience is I had a Disney gift card with a specific amount of money on it, and that's what I used to pay for our table services.
Mm-hmm.
And that saved us not only money, but it saved us the headache of having our credit card on hand with us.
Yeah.
And because it was preloaded, it was on my email. All I had to do was give the cast member the account number and what's called the EAN number, so kind of like the PIN.
Okay.
And they were able to process the payment for the gift card and apply it to the overall balance. I also used it on our mobile food orders whenever we ordered a quick service.
Oh, that's so nice. So you didn't even have to have the actual card.
Nope.
Oh, that's so
no,
nice.
ma'am, I did not. But again, you needed to make sure that you had the number on hand so that you were able to load it into, like I said, the mobile food order, or when you're at the dining place that you're at. For the
That's
table
great
service.
advice.
Yes, ma'am.
Something we did when we went, we would charge things to our Magic Band.
Mm-hmm.
And I had brought a bunch of, like, not a bunch, but I had brought cash because someone had said, just get a Disney gift card with your cash, because we had been putting money aside. And then I was like, I don't know. I think I ran out of time. But anyways, I just went to our front desk and gave them the cash, and they like applied it to our room. So that was nice.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah. There's definitely ways around it without just having to have your credit card pinged nonstop.
Well, that's just it. And the headache of the bill is not there.
Yeah. Yes. It's like, oh, we had a great trip. Oh my gosh. How much did we spend? So what y'all do after y'all ate dinner?
So after we ate dinner, once again, went back to the hotel and went into the pool.
Nice.
That was my son's thing. He wanted to go in the pool. I'm like, fine, we're here. Let's go in the pool.
Yeah, it's
we had we had a delicious dinner. We were full, so if we wanted a snack, it was in the room already. So yeah, it was terrific. He went in the pool again and passed out. It was great.
That's awesome. I love it.
Yes.
Okay, so we are on your last day. What did y'all do?
So, the last time we were at Disney and we went to Disney Springs, it was torrentially raining.
Mm-hmm.
So, we were not able to experience Disney Springs. So, this was our first time not only experiencing Disney Springs during the day, but we could actually see everything without getting rained on.
Yay.
It actually did not rain on any of the days that we were there, with the exception of on the Saturday after we had gotten back from the park in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was fine. So we lucked out on this trip.
That is awesome.
So Monday was our Disney Springs day. We went to Disney Springs and we perused around some of the stores. We did go to the Disney store, and we utilized their mobile checkout system, which again saved the headache of waiting in line. And you got your plastic bag at the front of the store, you put your stuff in it, you scan the items on your phone, and you go to the front of the store where there's a cast member waiting to scan your order, and you leave.
That's so nice.
So in the Disney store, it's just crazy because no matter where you go, if there's Disney merchandise, you're going to scan every piece of that merchandise. Whether you want it or not, you are going to look at it. And my vice was looking at the kitchen stuff because I want a Disney kitchen. I just do. So, I'm looking at the bowls and the spoons, and my boyfriend's like, would you ever use any of this? I'm like, no.
That's so funny.
I would just look at it.
Yeah.
They did have a great selection of items for babies, which was great because anytime I went to any of the stores in the parks, a lot of the baby stuff was cleared out.
Oh,
So
interesting.
everyone's dressing up their babies.
Yep.
So the prices were the same as they would be at any Disney location. So it's not like it was a discounted store, but you're near Disney, who cares?
Yeah.
If I want a mug for $35, mind your business.
Right.
So after that, we did go into another area to have a break and eat some lunch, and then we headed over to the pin trading station where we did start our pin collection. That was something that we've been talking about doing for a while. We just never did it. I collect ears, but I never thought to really collect pins because I don't have that collector's mentality. But so he's like, why don't you just start collecting pins? I'm like, okay. So we bought lanyards and some pins, his, of course, being Lion King themed, and I got a lanyard with Mickey balloons on it, and I got a few pins.
That's
we also
fun.
went into the Christmas store. Oh, Christmas.
I know. I love that
Christmas
store.
Especially. Oh, my Lord. I just wanted to sit there all day and just be happy.
I know, right? You can't not smile when you're in that store.
Nope. And it's just crazy, too, because the Christmas store in Magic Kingdom, I feel, had more ornament stuff, whereas in this particular store, there were ornaments, of course, but there were other decorative items like wreaths and different garlands and just a little bit more of a variety, and it was obviously bigger than the store in Magic Kingdom. And then this is where it all went down. We went to Goofy's Candy Company, and I got myself a nice Mickey candy apple, and I ate the entire thing to my face. I ate it. I did let my son have some, but he also got a slushie. But Mama got her candy apple. I kept staring at it, and it was marshmallow with M&Ms on it.
Oh, yum.
So, of course, I keep looking at it.
Yeah, it's like calling you.
My boyfriend being the person that he is, you want that apple, don't you? I'm like, no. I kept looping around, looking at the apple. He's like, just get the apple. I'm like, okay. And he got a Mickey cookie. It was a sugar cookie with chocolate ganache on it in the shape of Mickey. So we had our treat, and we went to the Art of Disney store with all of the beautiful artwork, original artwork pieces. And I was just appalled by some of these artists that draw these gorgeous Disney landscapes or adaptations from films. And I mean, granted, these pieces are like $8,000, $32,000, and I can't say I'll purchase those in this lifetime, but anyone that has the ability to own any of these art pieces, I envy them to the greatest degree, because having an original piece of Cinderella's castle on my living room wall, I mean, who wouldn't want that? So that's definitely like your museum portion of the trip, is just looking at this beautiful artwork.
It is.
So that was a great experience. We did not get to do any dining at this particular time in our day because we just wanted to enjoy the day and just take in the park. We did see Rainforest Cafe because when we looped around to get back into the entryway, where we waited for a bus for almost half an hour, but thankfully the shade and the fans and all that kind of saved us, so that way we weren't waiting in the hot sun, but we did have to walk in the hot sun in order to get to the bus. So
So how was the crowds at Disney Springs? Because this was a Monday.
This was on a Monday.
Yeah.
The crowds really weren't that bad. On a scale of low, medium, high, I would say it was at a medium.
That's good, yeah.
Yeah, there were people there, but we had gotten there pretty early in the morning. So, people weren't, because they opened at 10. So we got there at around 10, and not a lot of people were there. So at around, I would say 1 o'clock, 1:30, as we were leaving, that's when people started coming in, and we're like, oh, okay, well, we're leaving at a very convenient time.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's smart to go early.
The Lego store had a line wrapped around the building, so we did not go in there, but we did look at the spectacular Star Wars display that they had outside of the store, as well as Frozen. So we got to experience the Legos from the outside.
Yeah, I love that they have those displays out there in case you don't want to go in the store. And really, can't even remember if there's that. It's more just a store as opposed to like looking at Lego displays inside.
It's a Lego store, like you would see in New York City, or here at home we have one in the mall. It's a Lego store. I mean, it's not like a museum of Lego stuff.
Correct.
But seeing the serpent in the lagoon, and like I said, they had Star Wars with Kylo Ren and Rey outside of the store. It was just amazing. I can't even put two blocks together. Like,
I know, it is amazing. So what'd y'all do when y'all left Disney Springs?
Disney Springs, went back in the pool.
Yay!
And as tired as I am of saying we went in the pool, it was because that's what my son wanted to do. And if he wanted to just go in the pool after a long day of being wherever we were at, by all means, let him go in the pool. Let him experience, his new skill of swimming. He was so excited to be able to jump into the pool by himself and to finally use his arms to swim. And it was an exciting moment. So I wanted him to be a part of that as much as he could.
I think that's so fun. And it's summertime and y'all are in Florida, so you might as well take advantage of it.
Yes, absolutely. Because the weather up here in Rhode Island has been less than cooperative for our summer this year. It's either been too rainy or, too cloudy. So it was definitely his time to enjoy the summer.
That's awesome. So y'all left Orlando on the 27th, which was a Tuesday. Did y'all have an early flight?
Oh God, so early, Jenny. So early. So we had a 7:20 flight again.
No, and that is a very early Magical Express.
Yeah. So was it worth saving the money? Debatable. So debatable. But I thought that everyone wasn't going to be at the airport at 5:00 in the morning. Oh, they were there.
Yeah.
They were certainly there. So we had a call time of 4:15 to be at the bus stop. And the bus didn't get there till almost 5:00 in the morning.
What?
Yeah. So they were running late. From what I heard on the dispatch radio when we were finally on the bus, once again, a Mears bus, is there was some kind of delay with who was working that day, or someone was scheduled to work or couldn't. I don't know. There was some sort of miscommunication with the Magical Express. So needless to say, that was not a very magical experience.
Yeah,
if you
for
will.
Sure.
And then when we got to the airport, the Southwest line was longer than I can ever describe. It was so long. I'm like, we're going to miss our flight.
Oh my gosh.
But luckily, the person that worked for Southwest saw that we had, 2 children, and they let us go into a separate line where we were able to check our bags. We got to TSA. TSA wasn't too bad, but as always, the TSA experience, although is necessary, is also very anxiety driven.
Yes.
They're pulling you in all sorts of directions and take this off and they should take that off. I remember when we went in 2019, my boyfriend had braids in his hair. They were checking his hair. Like,
oh my gosh.
It was out of control. It was out of control. So luckily this time they didn't do it because I think his braids were a little bit more, they weren't as intricate as they were the first time. So they weren't checking his head. So that saved it.
That's pretty intense.
Oh, it is. No, it is intense.
My goodness.
And like with the baby, they let you go in a separate thing.
Yeah.
And it was fine. But then there were so many people that we couldn't see where my mom was. So we just ran for the tram so that we could make the plane. But then I forgot the diaper bag. So if there's one thing I can say is make sure you know that you have all of your bags so that your poor spouse, partner, does not have to go back on the tram, go back to TSA, say, I'm sorry, but we left our bag, and then run back. So it was a bit of a chaotic morning. And was it worth the saving $111? I don't know, because luckily my son was so good. He was so good. I was beyond proud of him. And the baby was just going along for the ride. She's just like, I don't even know what's happening.
Yeah, right. She's just like, I'm just here.
So I think that's definitely something to weigh your options out with is it worth waking up at 3:00 in the morning and fighting with your child to get out of bed?
Well, and it's also one thing. When you're like scheduling the flight, you're like, oh, 7, that's fine. But you kind of forget you got to get there so early in advance.
Right. And you're not expecting the Magical Express to be 45 minutes late.
No, that's horrible. Like, I think my family would have lost it.
I was like, what the heck? I was supposed to be here 45 minutes ago.
Oh my gosh, how stressful.
It is stressful, but, you have to kind of roll with the punches. Okay, they're late. All right, we're at the airport. Like,
yeah.
Just go with it. Go with it.
Was the flight on time, or was it a smooth flight home?
So the flight got into the gate on time, but didn't leave until 15 minutes after the fact because I think they were waiting for somebody.
Okay.
The flight up was a lot better because it was a newer plane.
Oh, nice.
And there was more legroom,
mm-hmm.
and the plane was obviously more updated. But what was cool is that the flight attendant handed us a first flyer card for Miss Alina, our daughter. Yeah,
how cute.
So it's Alina's first flight, and it was signed by all the crew. It was cute.
That is so cute. I didn't even know they did that.
Gave us a little pixie dust of their own.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it was great.
Well, it sounds like y'all had a great time. I loved hearing about your trip. I have been wanting to interview someone who went to Disney with small kids because I feel like that would be very intimidating. And I'm sure there's families out there who are kind of weighing the pros and cons of going with small kids.
Yeah, and the biggest criticism or concern that I get from parents is, they're not going to remember it. Mm-hmm. So why bother? My advice, I wouldn't even say argument, my advice is they may not remember it, but you will. Mm-hmm. I will always remember that, my daughter's first experience at Disney was on Jungle Cruise, and then she and I went on Small World together. I will always remember that my son learned how to swim in the Fantasia pool at All-Star Movies. I will always remember him being the spy on Star Tours. Like, just those little things make it worth it. And you just have to plan your time. Mm-hmm. When you have children, you just have to plan your time. And I know it's a vacation. You don't want to plan anything. However, when it comes to Disney World, in my opinion, going on the fly with kids is not the way to go. Yeah. If you're going there with an idea of their feeding schedule, their nap schedule, what kind of food is available at these, dining locations, what kind of rides would they be able to ride and interested in? Just ask yourself those questions, and your trip will be just fine. Mm-hmm. It'll be just fine. Cater it to your child. Don't cater it to you. Now, if there are a couple of things that you or your partner want to do, split the bill, if you will. Hey, I want to go on Space Mountain. Okay, I'm going to go take the kids to Little Mermaid. Okay, great.
I think that's such good advice.
Yeah, just have that plan in mind. And with it being Florida, if it's getting to be 95 degrees outside and it feels like 150, go back to the room. Just go back to the room. The park is not going anywhere. Magic Kingdom's open until 9 o'clock. Animal Kingdom is open until 6. Like, just, weigh out your options when it comes to time.
I think that's such great advice. Absolutely. So what was your worst moment on the trip?
I think my worst moment on the trip was, honestly, the airport. Yeah. The airport, because, Disney is its own thing. Mm-hmm. Things will happen that you can't control at Disney. It just happens. There's no way to avoid it. But mm-hmm. I definitely think that my worst moment was at the airport, especially flying out of Providence. I was very disappointed in the experience between there not being a lot of dining options, especially for little ones. The overall disorganization, they meaning Southwest, did not tell me that I needed to count Alina on our flight reservation as a lap child. So I couldn't get on the plane at first. I had to get her birth certificate, which luckily I did have because, anything can happen. Yes. So I had she and my son's birth certificates on hand. So I had to wait to get on the plane. My mom took the baby on the plane, but I had to go to the ticket counter, get her on our reservation as a lap child. I was not aware of that, nor did they do anything about it when I went to TSA.
Oh my gosh.
So
that's so frustrating. You would think TSA would have said something.
Well, that's just it. Like TSA, it's a government enforced agency. Right. Like the minute that you see a baby and you don't see a boarding pass, oh no, it's fine. No, it's not fine because I was not able to see on the flight.
Oh my goodness.
So luckily, it was frustrating. So luckily, the Southwest agent applied it so that I didn't have to worry about it when I was in Orlando.
Mm-hmm. That's so nice.
Then the other, as I mentioned to you previously, is in Orlando, they were not clear about, when you're in a party with small children, even if you're in a party of, 8 people and you're with the people that have the children, you still cannot get on the flight with them. So the communication between Southwest on, in either airport, I feel like needs to have more consistency, because in Providence, they allowed my mom to get on. In Orlando, they did not.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I think Southwest just needs to improve their communication gaps a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. I agree. It would make everyone's life less stressful. Even the people who work there who have to deal with it.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, what was your best moment or memory?
My best moment or memory, I think just seeing the look on my son's face when he saw the castle.
Yeah.
So since he was a baby, I've always played the Magic Kingdom loop music for him, and on the YouTube video is Cinderella's Castle.
Mm-hmm.
So he always called it Mickey Castle music.
Aww.
So for him to see the castle and to say, "There's a Mickey Castle," was like to hear his little voice say, "Mommy, there it is." Like, that will always be in my brain for the rest of my life, is him seeing it for the very first time and just, I'm here. There's Mickey Castle. There it is.
Oh, I just love that.
And then he heard, when we entered the park, he heard the music that he's been listening to since he was an infant. He's like, "Mommy, I hear the music. I hear the music." So that was cool.
That is the sweetest. Like, that made me tear up.
No, my baby. And of course, him saying, "Where are you going back?
Yeah.
Where are you going back?" So, no, that was definitely my magical moment, is to hear that little voice.
And you get to do that again with your daughter one day. That's what's so exciting.
Yes, and hopefully Bippity Boppity Boutique is open by then.
Oh, yes. It should be.
My
goodness. So when do y'all plan on going back? Do you have another trip planned?
So in my brain, I do. So
yeah.
we're in the process of getting a house.
Mm-hmm.
I know for our listeners, this market, I know, but the rent life is getting to us. So
for sure.
We are in the process of looking for a house, but I would like to say our next trip will either be in February, April, or August of 2022. I'm kind of gearing more for August of 2022 because I want to see the fall decorations at Disney. And hopefully get into a Boo Bash event.
Yeah.
Hopefully Mickey's Not So Scary is back next year. But I would love to see Disney in a different way, whether it's during Halloween or whether it's during Christmas, because that is something that I have not experienced yet, and I think that it would be cool to switch things up a little bit in that way.
I think that's awesome. Well, Brittany, thank you so much for coming on the show. I loved having you on and hearing your experiences with your little kids. How much fun. What a great story y'all had.
Thank you very much. And I really hope that our listeners with little ones take what I had to say and just roll with it. Cater it to what works best for you. What works for me may not work for you. Just find your niche.
I think that's just the best advice possible. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Jenny. This has been great.
I hope you enjoyed the show. Brittany is an agent at Trolley Lane Travel, and if you would like to contact her about planning your Disney vacation, check the show notes on how to get in touch with her. You can also visit our Instagram at Disney Travel Tales to see pictures from her trip. Join us next week for a new mini episode where we deep dive into the Saratoga Springs Resort and Spa at Walt Disney World. Thank you so much for listening. This is Jenny, and may all your Disney travel dreams become a reality.